So when we're factoring, there's some other things to look for. And one of the things that you can look for are what are called special products. So there are a few of these that kind of follow a formula. And the first one we're going to talk about, they're called perfect square trinomials. So if you take a binomial like a plus b and you were to square it, then that would mean a plus b times a plus b. And if you multiplied it out with FOIL, you'd have a times a, which is a squared, and then you'd have ab, but then you'd have another ab, and then finally you'd have b squared. And so you get this formula, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So that's how it multiplies out. Now what we're going to look for with the factoring is, if we can find something in this form, then we're going to go back and factor it like that, okay? So here's an example, and I'm going to write that form up. So you're looking for a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. You're looking for a polynomial or a trinomial in that form. So look at this first term here. See how it's a 4x squared? Well, 4 is a perfect square, so I could write that as 2x squared, like that. Because you'd square the 2, that'd be 4. You'd square the x, that'd be x squared. Now look at the last term, the constant. It's not always a constant, but the last term. That's also a perfect square, so I could write that as 3 squared. So it's like this is my A and this is my B. So the question is, do I have 2AB in the middle? If I do, then it's a perfect square trinomial. So what is the 2 is constant, okay, but what is my A in this case? My A is the 2x. So it's coming from right there, that's the A. The 2x, okay. And then the B is a 3. So right there, that's the 3. So what's 2 times 2, 4, 4 times 3, 12x. And that happens to be the middle term. So all we've done is we've discovered that it is a perfect square trinomial. Yes, perfect square trinomial. So it's going to factor, I'll go over here, remember it's going to factor into a plus b squared. So all I have to know is what a is and what b is, but we already discovered that. A was 2x and b was 3. So it factors into 2x plus 3, that quantity squared. Now you can write that out as 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes they're going to want it with the squared, and sometimes they're going to want it like written out as 2 binomials. For our purposes now, because we're factoring, probably this is just great. Okay, so let's have another one. Now look at those large numbers, you know, you wouldn't want to have to do the AC method, yuck. And you would look for a greatest common factor, but there isn't one. So, you know, you're out of luck with that too. So we're really hoping this is a perfect square trinomial. So again, we're looking to put it in this form that we'll know it's a perfect square trinomial, and if we can get it in that form, then we can factor it like this. Okay, now this one is subtraction. Let me just point that out right away. Right there, it's subtraction. Okay, so let's look at the 64y squared. 8y, right? Because 64 is a perfect square. So I can put that as my A. So that's going to be like my A right there, 8y. And then I go to the back part, the 25, and I look at that as a 5 squared. So now I know my B. So then the question is, do I have 2AB? And it is negative, so let's put a negative in there. That's not gonna, it's gonna matter in our final answer, but okay, so we have negative 2 times 8y times 5, If that's negative 80y, then it's a perfect square trinomial. And it is. It's negative 80y. So yes, perfect square trinomial. So it's a little bit of work to figure out if it's a perfect square trinomial. And you might have an easier way to do it. You do a couple of these and it's going to get a little bit easier. But now how do we factor it? Well, we're going to factor it into something squared. And we need the a and we need the b. But we have the a, it's 8y. Now here comes the difference. It's going to be minus, because it was a minus 2ab, minus 5. And then that's how it factors. You can check it with FOIL and it's going to work. So there you go. You have to practice a few of these.